I'm live. It says, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. It's December 20th. You know, we're contemplating, there's some interest in having a little gathering tomorrow night, the 21st, after sundown, after sunset, uh, to witness the conjunction of the Saturn and Jupiter stars, what they're calling the Christmas star. So if you have any interest in that, reach out to us. It's just going to be whoever wants to do it will be in the parking lot if we do it at sunset. But the fellow Bob Capizzi is sort of the ringleader of this effort, and so he's going to sort of pick up on the fine points of it. Well, here we are, going through this month of messages that immerse us in the Christmas story, in the nativity story, in the experience of all the different aspects involved, the characters, the events. And we started with the journey to Bethlehem, which was, we compared that to our hero's journey. And today we're talking about the Magi's quest, which is a little bit different from the hero's journey. A quest is when you have a burning desire to give something, to accomplish something, to arrive at something. The hero's journey doesn't necessarily know where it's going to end up, but the quest has an endpoint. And each one of us has this inner wise man, call it Magi, this inner wisdom that is light sensitive, that is yearning to follow the Christ and access that inspiration, to marry it with the intellect, because you know the Magi represent the intellect. There are so many moments in the Bible where intellect is shown to be secondary to spiritual understanding. John the Baptist represents the illumined intellect that honors Jesus, the true spiritual identity. And here again, we have that echo of the intellectual, the wise men who are following a star, following the light, understanding that it will lead them to a new king, a new consciousness that they want to honor, that they want to pay homage to. So now, who are these wise men? Do you realize there is no consensus on where they came from? Whether they came from the Orient, whether they came from just a little bit east of Jerusalem, Babylon, whether they were Jews, whether they were non-Jewish, how many of them were there? Of what extraction? Were they black? Were they Asian? Some say there were 12. There are many different theories, but it all means the same thing metaphysically. It means that the intellectual understanding perceives that there is a higher plane of understanding, that there is a source of superconsciousness that they want to surrender to pay homage to. And that's the beauty of this story. So now, that said, I want to actually read the text because it's quite a drama. It's one of the most explicit and dramatic stories we have in the Bible. It's only in Matthew, you know. Okay, in chapter 2. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem, remember, this takes place after Jesus was born. So our nativity sets, look at these. I wanted to show you this. This cute little nativity set. Isn't that darling? Here you go. There's the baby Jesus. Aww. Yeah, after Jesus was born. So they couldn't have been there the night of his birth when the shepherds were there. But we like to include them in our traditional nativity sets. But fact of business, no, they weren't there. All right. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." Then King Herod heard this. When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, 'And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel.'" And that was written by the prophet Isaiah. Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also go and pay him homage." And when they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. Now, after they had left, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Go, take up the child and his mother and flee to Egypt and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him." Then Joseph got up, took the child and his mother by night, and went to Egypt and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I have called my son." When Herod saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, he was infuriated, and he sent and killed all the children in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had learned from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, wailing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled because they are no more. Tragic. When Herod died, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who were seeking the child's life are dead." Then Joseph got up, took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And after being warned in a dream, he went away to the district of Galilee. There he made his home in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene. Boy, what a lot of drama. So, first of all, why did the gifts that the Magi brought, why were they gold, frankincense, and myrrh? It's not that familiar to us in modern times, but those were the very things that a king would have need of. Private citizens, not so much. Kings use gold to make all of their artifacts and their environment royal. Kings use frankincense as an incense to fill the temple worship. Kings use myrrh to create oil to anoint with, to anoint others and to confer on them authority. and special recognition of deity. So they were indeed the gifts that you would give a king and no other. It's so beautiful to recognize that. So now, what is your quest? Our metaphysical interpretation of Bible tells us that there is a Magi within us, the intellect that is drawn by the light of intuition to the Christ. And that is really the core idea of this time together that we spend in reflection of the Christmas story. So what are you seeking to give? Gold, the abundance and prosperity of availability of material wealth? Are you seeking to give frankincense, a healing agent for all and any and all wounds and illnesses? Are you seeking to give myrrh, representing the substance for anointing, conferring energy from on high? I think we all are seeking to provide these gifts for humanity. What do you want for the Christ child, for the innocent soul that comes into the world, bearing the light that lighteth every man? What is your gift for that innocence? I say, it is simply love. We are all destined to give and receive love at its highest level of expression. And it is a quest that lives in us, that moves us forward, that is our destiny and our deepest desire. The Christ child is a gift to humanity itself. And here we have the Magi who are giving gifts to this gift. You know, it reminds us of that song, The Little Drummer Boy. I want you to think about this with me, because if you really feel that song, it brings me to tears every time, because here's a story in this song that says there's this little drummer boy, and all the crowds are running and saying, "Come and worship the king and bring him a gift to honor him." And the little drummer boy says, I have no gift. And then he says, "Well, I have my drum. Shall I play for him?" And so they said, "Oh, yes." And so he comes up and approaches the Christ child. And he says, "I played for him. I played my drum for him. I played my best for him." And the final verse is, "Then he smiled at me and my drum." So beautiful. Such a wonderful metaphor for the giving of the spirit of Christmas. Now, the Christ child is this gift to humanity, and it's very important that we don't betray our giving. You know, the wise men, the Magi, they came very close to betraying their gift by seeking out Herod. Herod represents ego consciousness. That's easy to see. And they came very close to betraying their mission by seeking recognition from ego. I think there's a real message in that, a metaphor that we must remain humble. We must not get distracted and sidetracked that, we are giving, but remain with the process of giving itself. When you awaken to your life's quest, to the difference that you are yearning to make, let a new star guide you. The light of divine mind. Divine mind is available to every one of us. In fact, it's actually within every one of us, a part of every one of us. And it will lead you, show you the way, if you look upward, look above the fray, look heavenward, and keep going. They say that the wise men could have been traveling as many as 2 years if they first saw his star at its rising, and he had been born 2 years ago when they reached Jerusalem. It's possible they were traveling 2 years. It's hard to imagine that. But if we raise our vision, keep our minds stayed on the higher consciousness of greater good, greater love, peace, harmony, abundance, and trust in that absolute goodness of God, our lives will be transformed. So to seal this experience, here we are on the 20th of December, just 5 days away from Christmas. And may I remind you that we are going to have a Christmas candle lighting service. We will upload the video of that, but it won't be on Christmas Eve. And the message is no room at the inn, continuing with our immersion in the nativity story and the actual events that happened, and experiencing them at a deeper level. That's what we'll be talking about on Christmas Eve, and having a meditation, each with our own candle. We have very nice equipment, materials, worship supplies for that. We have little plastic cups where you cannot get hot wax on your fingers or anything else. So it's quite a blessing to experience a meditation with a flame in a group of people in honor of and observance of the birth of the Christ, the awakening of our nature that is spiritual, that is love itself, in honoring that. So to seal this day's message, our thought is, my quest is for all humanity. I give freely of the gifts of spirit. So just take that in, breathe into it. I give freely of the gifts of spirit. My quest is for all humanity. Truly, deeply, sincerely, our hearts are on a mission. And in that movement, in that forward movement, we are exalted. We are filled with light. And we are empowered for the highest good. Amen and amen. And I want to show you my little gift. Where did I put it? Where's my little book? I brought it in here. Hey, Autumn, do you think you could find it? It's in the little cart I was pushing. I think it's just outside. It's the children's nutrition book. So it's still not too late to give a child this book. It's called The Inside Story, and it starts with Once Upon a Time, and it ends with Happily Ever After. And I wrote it. No, it's not there. Or maybe it's on the chair there. I put my stuff right there. A pile of stuff. Well, anyway, it's a little book, and it's delightful for children to have to have something to show them. 4 questions for food to ask to make food wiser food choices, so that they don't get addicted to, you know, foods that are unhealthy. Um, and don't forget us in your Christmas giving. Our budget is an issue that we have to confront. And if everyone remembered to give a tithe of their abundance, we would be way over whatever we need. So remember us and let Spirit guide you in giving us your love offering and your blessing and your love. We are here to serve. We are here to extol the power that we have to create heaven on earth. So Merry Christmas and thank you all. I stop the end stream. Bye.